to have you once again as we talk Cowboy basketball with OSU head coach Mike Boynton. So, game obviously Sunday, finals week. What have the dynamics of the week been like?
Well, we got back late Sunday night after our game in New York City. Longer trip coming back after a loss, it seems like.
Understood.
But we were off on Monday, which was our kind of mandated off day for the week. But we gave the guys off Tuesday as well because we had a lot of exams Monday and Tuesday. We wanted to give the guys an opportunity to finish, these semesters strong academically. But able to get back into practice on Wednesday, which was good, kind of get us back into our normal preparation. And we'll have a few days here to work on ourselves and then a couple days to get focused on a really good Wichita State team.
As time has gone along, we've gravitated more to online classes, online finals. The dynamics of the semester have changed. Has that made it easier in terms of how you manage finals week? Has it changed it at all?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly changed. I remember, 10 years ago where you were really worried about your guys the week going into finals and were they prepared? Do they have too many exams on one day? Do you have to not have practice? And now a lot of professors even have finals before finals week. They give them their last project or whatever it is. And so we have some guys who only had one exam in person this week. We have a couple guys who had projects. We had a few who had, maybe two exams in one day, but it certainly has changed from, just 10 years ago to what you kind of have to consider in terms of time off during this week.
So what did you take from the Virginia Tech game that can be helpful?
That we played a really good team, first and foremost, but we were right there with 2 minutes to go in a tie game with the ball, and I feel like we're really, really close. If we can clean up some execution stuff late in the game, we can fix a couple of our mental breakdowns on defensive assignments early in the game. You give yourself a chance to beat a really good team, no matter where you play them, whether it be home, road, or neutral site, which is obviously what we hope to be playing in March.
Sure. The reality is, if you stop and think about it, you're one possession in the Southern Illinois game, one possession at the very end of regulation against Central Florida. You could argue one possession in the Virginia Tech game away from sitting here 8-1.
Yeah,
I mean, you're that close.
The truth is, and we've talked about scheduling philosophy. Some people say we're crazy for scheduling games, like this so often. But my philosophy has always been, this is what we're going to face in Big 12 play. We know the reality is most games in Big 12 play are 1, 2, or 3 possessions. They come down to being able to execute. And so I want our guys to have as much exposure and experience dealing with that. We have as much tape to watch, to learn from, and hopefully it's a benefit for us down the road. I could bloat our record early and be 12-0 going into Christmas and not have a real good idea of what it takes to win hard games. And although we haven't gotten the job done in every single one of them, there's been lessons learned that we can carry on moving forward that certainly we can hope will help us as the calendar turns and we start playing against really, really good Big 12 teams twice a week.
Yeah, and that'll start before you know it on December 31st at Kansas. So I'm interested. Obviously, when you lose close games, you feel like you're right there, but at the same time, you're trying to get better so that you can hopefully finish off those games. How do you balance that, the temptation to think, we're really close, but also that temptation to think that, well, we have to change something? I mean, how do you manage that? Because the good news is you're really, really close, but I guess in some ways you really have to dig deep to figure out, hey, what's the right thing to do?
Well, it's a great balance that you have to strike as a coaching staff because your players can psychologically get warped from losing. And the reality is we have the ball in a tie game with less than 2 minutes to go on the road. Mm-hmm. So we certainly had to do some good things to be in that position against the top 25 team, a team that beat the defending national runner-up just prior to us playing them, a team that's playing really, really good basketball, no different than UConn. I mean, it was a 10-point loss, but we outplayed them in the second half once we got Cisse back on the court. But you're doing something to hurt yourselves because you're losing the game. Right. And the thing that jumps off the page at you is your turnovers. We had 17 turnovers again on Sunday. In that time when we had the game tied, we went 3 straight possessions without getting the shot up. And we have to get that fixed. It's not that we have to do something different. We just have to be more mindful of the small things that go into execution, the cut, the pass on time, the screen, understanding when the shot's there to be able to take it. And then having the courage to have confidence that you can make it. So those are the things that we've talked about the last few days, because this group is a group of good kids. They work really hard. They believe that they deserve to be successful, but you got to go make it happen. No one that we play is going to let you win. We're all fighting for the same thing. And so there's a balance between understanding you're right there, but also there's a reason that you're not finishing the job. You got to own that.
Sure. You know, the borough of Brooklyn was exposed to the sweet feet of Kalib Boone, in particular in the first half when he was very, very good. How much of that for him is to some extent instinctual versus a lot of work? Because I'll be honest, Coach, I don't know how many guys in college basketball have the footwork that he has in the post. You sure don't seem to see it very much.
Well, the game's kind of moved away from being able to throw it in there and having a guy with the skill, feel, and patience to be able to display that type of ability inside. And so credit to him for being a guy who embraces playing that way, who knows his effectiveness around the basket, and no matter how big or strong the guy is, understands that it's not necessarily about brute strength. It's about skill and footwork and angles a lot of times in there, and he's gotten really, really good at that. It's certainly something that the people in Brooklyn can appreciate because we appreciate pure basketball.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, next up, a road trip at Wichita State, a team that has had sort of mixed results, some close losses to teams we know, Kansas State and Missouri. What's been your take on them so far?
They're a team that's finding themselves. A lot of new faces, I think 9 new guys. The coach is in now his 3rd year, so he's still kind of figuring out himself. But they have some really talented guys. Kid Craig Porter Jr., who played there last year, really good point guard. He leads them, I think, in scoring and assists. Jaquan Walton, another really, really good shooter. Gus Okafor is another really good player. Poto is another kid who played against us. So they've got good pieces. I would imagine interest will be rocking like they always do when we go up there, because you talk about a basketball fan base that's passionate about seeing their team. They're as good as any out there. So they're good. They're tough. They play a lot of different defenses. They try to tempo the game a little bit, so they don't play a great pace. But their defensive numbers are really, really good. They got good size and a few guys who can really hurt you from the outside.
And with the variety of defenses it sounds like they'll throw at you, how much does it help you that you've had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to prepare? You've had an extended period, maybe more than normal, to get ready for that.
Yeah, and the truth is we'll have some time on Saturday. It's a late game, so our shoot-around will give us one more opportunity to cover some things, to make sure that we are confident in our game plan, that we can make the adjustments necessary when we need to. But we got to expect a real battle, a battle for 40 minutes, a battle that probably, again, will come down to the last 2 minutes and who can execute the best. And I'm curious to see how much our guys have grown since last Sunday.
And then when you finish up against Wichita, back home for the traditional pre-Christmas afternoon game against Corpus Christi, a very good team, was in the NCAA tournament last year.
Yeah, they're really good. Coach has done a really good job in just a short amount of time getting that program going and nationally relevant. And so we expect another great battle. I hope our guys aren't distracted about going home for Christmas. That's always a concern. But this is a mature group that I'm sure will be able to focus on handling business before we get out of here, because there's nothing worse than going home on a loss, especially one at home in front of your fans. So I hope our fans are able to come up to Wichita and then show up for a matinee game. I think there's a doubleheader again with the women. Watch both teams, hopefully take care of business and go into Christmas break as we prepare for Big 12 play with wins.
We talked about finals at the beginning, and we'll wrap it up with sort of a focus on finals and academics. And you've got a lot of guys graduating, and Tyreek Smith will obviously not walk this weekend. He'll be busy with the team. However, he will be done. His college degree will be complete after this finals week.
Yeah, extremely proud moment for him, his family. I think he's the first person in his family to graduate. Tremendous accomplishment. And it was his choice to not walk this weekend, not because he didn't want to, but he's got several other teammates that are going to also graduate this year, and he's going to opt to walk with them when they walk in May, and that includes 3 of our 4-year seniors, Avery Anderson, Chris Harris, and Kalib Boone. But Bernard Kuma is another guy who's going to graduate here, and so we're excited about all those guys and their academic accomplishments, and proud to send those guys out into the world to be successful.
Great accomplishments indeed. That's our show for this week, and we'll see you next time.